This hunter abandoned his lifelong obsession with killing animals when an unexpected encounter with a tiger cub changed his life forever. In the depths of a dense forest, a man named Boris prowled with a singular purpose. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves, a primordial aroma that seemed to fuel his determination. Unlike most hunters who sought trophies or sustenance, Boris harbored a deep-seated hatred for animals, particularly large predators. His obsession with hunting them down was fueled by a tragic past that haunted his every step, a memory that burned in his mind like a relentless flame. For days, Boris had been tracking a tiger, his most coveted prey. The elusive beast had managed to evade him, but fate was about to present him with an unexpected opportunity. As he crept through the underbrush, his keen eyes spotted a tiger cub, vulnerable and alone. Without hesitation, Boris devised a cruel plan to use the innocent creature as bait for its parent. With cold efficiency, he set his trap and waited. Hours passed, the sun arcing across the sky, but no adult tiger appeared. As evening fell, Boris reluctantly abandoned his vigil and returned home, leaving the helpless cub behind. The forest seemed to sigh with relief as he departed, unaware that his actions had set in motion a chain of events that would challenge everything he believed. To those who knew him, Boris was an enigma, a silent hunter who never betrayed emotion. But as he entered his house, a facade fell into place. A smile, forced and unnatural, spread across his face as a child's excited cry pierced the air. "Daddy!" The source of the exclamation was Andrei, Boris's young son, confined to a wheelchair. The boy's legs had been lost years ago in a horrific encounter with a tiger, an event that had miraculously spared his life but forever altered Boris's world. From that day forward, the hunter's heart had hardened against all animals, his quest for vengeance consuming him. Despite his relentless pursuit of predators, Boris found himself puzzled by his son's reaction to his trophies. Andrei, now 8 years old and growing wiser, never seemed to share his father's satisfaction in the lifeless animals brought home. This disconnect gnawed at Boris, a splinter in his conscience he couldn't quite dislodge. The next day, Boris returned to the jungle, his mind fixated on the trap he had left behind. The scene that greeted him was both triumphant and tragic. A mother tiger lay dead, her mouth caught in the very trap meant for her cub. The young tiger, now free but gravely injured, struggled nearby. Boris felt no pity as he loaded the adult tiger's body into his jeep, leaving the wounded cub to its fate. Back at home, Boris's excitement to show Andrei his latest kill was met with the same lack of enthusiasm he had come to expect. As he retreated to his room, conflicting thoughts swirled in his mind. How could his son, who had suffered so much at the claws of a tiger, not share his hatred for these beasts? Suddenly, the sound of joyful clapping broke through his brooding. Confused and curious, Boris rushed to investigate. The sight that greeted him shook him to his core. There, in their garden, was the injured tiger cub he had left for dead. It had somehow followed the scent of its mother's body, dragging itself to their doorstep. And there was Andrei, his face alight with wonder and compassion. For the first time in years, Boris felt the ice around his heart begin to crack. His son's plea to help the suffering creature struck a chord he thought long silenced. With trembling hands, he gathered the cub, administering first aid and summoning a veterinarian. The doctor's shock at seeing the infamous hunter caring for a tiger cub mirrored Boris's own internal turmoil. As days turned to weeks, Andrei's bond with the cub, now named Gore, deepened. Boris watched from afar, marveling at the joy this unlikely friendship brought his son. Yet, he couldn't bring himself to fully trust Gore, chaining the growing tiger in the garden whenever he left for his hunting expeditions. One fateful evening, Boris returned home to find the front door ajar. Alarm bells rang in his mind as he realized Gore was no longer chained. Fearing the worst, he drew his gun and entered cautiously. The scene that unfolded before him defied all his expectations. Two bloodied intruders lay unconscious on the floor. As Boris ventured further into the house, his heart nearly stopped. There was Andriy, tears streaming down his face, cradling the gravely injured Gore. The tiger had saved his son's life, fighting off the goons at the cost of his own safety. In that moment, every belief Boris held about animals shattered. The irony was not lost on him. One tiger had nearly taken his son's life, while another had saved it. The realization hit him like a physical blow. Like humans, not every animal was the same. As Gore's life ebbed away, Boris felt an unfamiliar emotion well up inside him. Regret, guilt, and a newfound respect for the creature he had once despised all mingled together. He knelt beside his son and the dying tiger, his calloused hands gently stroking Gore's fur. For the first time in years, Boris allowed himself to truly feel. Tears fell freely as he whispered words of gratitude and apology to the noble animal. In Gore's final moments, Boris made a silent vow to honor this sacrifice by changing his ways. As the light faded from Gore's eyes, a transformation took place in Boris's heart. The hunter who had once sought to destroy now found a new purpose: to protect and preserve the very creatures he had once hunted. Andriy's unwavering compassion and Gore's selfless act had shown him a path to redemption, one he would spend the rest of his life walking. In the end, it wasn't a bullet or a trap that brought down the mighty hunter, but the power of love and sacrifice. Boris emerged from this crucible forever changed, ready to face a new chapter in his life, one where he would strive to mend the wounds he had inflicted on the natural world and, in doing so, heal his own fractured soul.